Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you in a pinch, and is also going to be talking about some Milsim events. That's right, I finally got my calendar for the spring mostly pulled together. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs, and like I said, welcome back. Another show, another week, another one full of your questions, and now full of your video recommendations too. I'm letting you guys take the reins on that one and run with it. In fact, your recommendations are far better than mine. But aside from that, I want to talk about a couple things before we jump on in. I won't keep you here too long. First off, we did tease the whole thing about going to events, and I want to tell you guys where I'm heading this spring. I'm starting to fill up my calendar and get those full. First one, announcing this week, I'll be going to JTAC Milsim event called Operation Jackal 2. That's right, JTAC Milsim is putting this on. It is in May. It's May 20th and 21st. It's in Elbert, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver. And this is a full-fledged Milsim event. Now, some of you guys may have heard of JTAC if you guys are in the area there, or if you guys have seen, I kind of highlighted one of their videos for the first Jackal about 7-8 months ago, I guess, maybe a little longer, talking about the event and how I really wanted to go back this coming year and try to do it. Well, I am going to do it. I want to check it out. I've been going to the other national Milsim event companies, and I really have wanted to go and see this one. I think JTAC is hot. They're going to be hitting the national scene, and they have already with events, and this is one that I've added to my list for sure. So with that, one of the cool things about it, and I think I talked about this last time, I think they do such a good job when I registered, their system to actually move yourself around. A lot of times the problem with Milsim events, and this is what I have every time I go, is communication and all those kind of things from the squad level. You register, you get your information, and then the communication just kind of disappears. Well, one thing they've done is they've really focused on that. I think communication from like the leadership in your squad, platoon, and that kind of level, because you are being broken out into those different groups, the better communication you have, the better experience you're going to have in a game. The lack of communication, that's where I usually hear people didn't have a fun time. So I'm super excited about this. And of course, it's all the usual Milsim rules, like restricted ammo, things like that. It's classification, like certain roles, specific things like that. This is a 3-faction game, although it's really 2 factions with a small civilian element. So it's going to be really neat. I don't know yet which side I'm going to play on, so if you guys are doing it. The good news is you can move yourself around. That's what's so cool about it. So if you guys are holding out, definitely give a register. I think right now they're doing early registration to like May, so you get most of April. But I go ahead and do it because spots are starting to fill up until I think it's $85 just to get in. Above that, I think it jumps to like $105, which if you guys and gals know, that's a really good deal for a national Milsim event for price-wise. But enough of me chatting about that. I also want to talk about something really quick before we get into questions. One more thing, and that is the web store. I kind of messed up last week, and the web store totally glitched, and it didn't really work. So you guys weren't able to hit it. In fact, well, you were, it just didn't show the products in there at all. So anybody who went there last week, I do apologize. Keep in mind, I've got patches and everything in there, all in the store. I've got 4 different designs right now in stock, like logos. I've got the Call Your Hits patch, and I've also got the name tag patch. I also have the Call Your Hits t-shirt. Coming soon, this guy right here, the Corgi patch. Actually, that's my logo patch. That's that. There's the 3 right in stock here, and then those little guys. Trying to use my camera, looking at the screen to show you what I got. Corgi's gonna be back in stock soon. I do have them up there sold out right now. Probably in the next few weeks, you're gonna see those jump back in. I will let you know when those come back in too. But enough of that, enough of where I'm going, enough what I'm talking about. It's time to get into what you're really here for, and that is your questions in the Tippmann mail call. John Bennett writes, "Hey John, I'm John, and my parents let me rent an airsoft gun, but they wouldn't let me buy an airsoft gun. They think that I won't be safe. How should I go about proving that I'm mature enough to get an airsoft gun?" The old parental unit challenge. I think on this one, it really is going to be time and experience. I think they want to make sure that you're going to, it may not just be a safety thing. It might be, because airsoft, let's face it, it's a big investment. I mean, you got to spend a good chunk of money to get a gun. Now, there are hobbies that are much more expensive than airsoft. There's a bunch of them out there, but airsoft can be pricey. It can cost you a good chunk of money. So I think they may be waiting in their own way just to make sure you really like it, stay into it before they make that leap and spend a ton of money on an airsoft gun, especially a good one. I mean, you can go from 150 on the low end to 250 will get you a pretty darn good gun, like a really pretty good one, and then you can jump up to that 300 range and get top of the line, like the VFC Avalons, Crytacs, that kind of stuff. So I would say keep going and renting. I mean, obviously renting is not the most frugal way to do airsoft because every time you show up, it's $20, $25, something like that. I would maybe ask them for some of the peripheral items first. This is always good. Kind of build in the other bits before you actually get the gun. Say, hey, I'm playing a lot now. I know you guys are still waiting to see my comfort level with the gun. I know you guys are concerned talking to your parents like this way. But can we go ahead and get my safety equipment? I think that's really important for me to have my own safety equipment because this is a hobby I enjoy doing. I enjoy playing this hobby and this sport. So start talking them into getting a good goggle set, like face mask, face protection, things like that. Maybe gloves, some things like that that are the protection pieces. Show that you're concerned about the safety component because you're asking for that, and don't just focus on a gun. Give it a few more times of going, and after they drop 25 bucks a pop or whatever it costs to rent a gun to your local field, usually it's like 20 to 25 for a day. A few of those and you're gonna go, hey, now that we're like a month in, and you guys have spent, I've played every weekend for a month, that's $100 in rentals. I mean, I'm getting close to, I could have already purchased a gun at this point. Can we really maybe look at doing this to make things more cost effective for you? Go at it like the money thing. I think if you talk to them in a professional way like that and say, this is something I do, I'm concerned about safety first, you get that safety stuff, I would ask for that up first, definitely. And then moving into the gun thing, I think they will look at you that you are thinking about this process in a mature manner. You're also concerned and that you're invested in it. So I hope that kind of helps. Again, I don't know how your parents work, what they think. I mean, let's face it, let's be honest, not everyone is pro-gun. I grew up in a pro-gun family, so I was always around real firearms, so it wasn't scary for me to have something like that, although Airsoft didn't come in my life till much, much later. When I was young, it was BB guns and that, and paintball. I was big into paintball when I was in my high school days on that. But yeah, Airsoft didn't come later. So it could be the scary factor of guns as well. And it can be understandable. They want to make sure that you're not going to, like the news stories you've been seeing, somebody goes out public, has an Airsoft gun and, doesn't react the right way. And, people call the cops on them and worse things can happen. So all those things in mind, just kind of go the approach I explained to you and you will probably have your best chance of kind of working your way through that and maybe getting your own Airsoft gun sooner than later. Joshy Brick Studios writes, hey Jonathan, I'm about to upgrade my combat machine. All my local fields around here are semi-only. What's a great gearbox that I can buy that will work great with a fast trigger pull on semi around the 400 feet per second range without dropping a ridiculous amount of money on it? I was looking at GMP so far. What do you think? I'm a big fan of, I know there's a big tuning crowd out there, when you're going to do a full mechbox replacement, you're going to take one out and put another one in, try to stick with the brand you're looking at. And by the time you do that too, you might want to consider a new gun. I know it doesn't seem cost effective out of the gate, but you get all the other things that go with it, like a warranty and a bunch of other stuff like that. So kind of consider that. Weigh your options on maybe a new gun, maybe not. Also consider doing an upgrade. Combat Machine is actually a very good gun. Don't discount the fact that you could easily turn that thing up to 400 and have no problem with it. You go above 400, you're probably going to be pushing the limits of that of the gun itself. So especially if you're doing that upgrade, look at your local shops, somebody that has good tech experience. If not, look at shipping your gun out to a place that is known for their tech work. That's also another good idea. There's a lot of great places out there that do it. Like shops and things like that, but try to look local first. It's going to save you a lot of money and you'll definitely have a faster turn time on getting that gun back. And like I said, most of the time you're probably looking at maybe a spring there, and if you're looking at trigger response, I would highly recommend a motor. That's going to be one of your biggest things. Motor and a battery change are going to give you that trigger response. So if your power's low right now and you're just wanting a little more zippy on the trigger, look at maybe picking up something like G&G has some really good high magnetism motors. I think it's the one with the orange, so they're metal, but they have like the orange plastic on the back. That is their highest magnetism motor. It is incredibly good motor. There's also some good ones out there from ASG. They'd be a fantastic motor replacement for you as well. I have the one that's the green belt. I think it's the 30 or 35,000 revolutions per minute motor. Also, Tinley has some really good high-end motors. In fact, I'm sure there's a bunch of techs that are going to jump in down there when it comes to motors. There's a lot of great ones out there. And motor, to me, coupled with like an 11-1 LiPo, can give you insane trigger response, that really crisp, snappy start-stop you're looking for. You can take it a step further if you want and do MOSFETs and all that stuff, but I think if you want to do something that's low-hanging fruit, motor is incredibly easy to swap. It's something very simple for you to do and not have to pay a tech to do it if you're not technically inclined. I would definitely go that route at first. And then if you want to step it up and you want to do it, turn the spring, crank that spring up. Down the road, like I said, if you don't want to go that route, look at a whole gun. But if you're looking at mech boxes, if you can find them, I don't think G&G sells mech boxes like as a full drop-in unit. But you want to look maybe at their new G2 series, things like that. that's a good consideration because that's a really good mech box, their newest evolution of that, or some of their new trigger switches, like electronic trigger units, and on those things, maybe moving to a gun that has a mech box like that. So all those are great ideas. I hope they help you narrow down your choices, but I do try to stick with the same brand if at all possible when it comes to a full replacement, actually the mech box shell, because some things don't always line up between brands, but internal guts, like the actual parts, like gears, motor, piston, spring, all those good things, the sky's the limit. You can mix and match whatever you like. Plain Bros writes, is it a good idea to leave the battery overnight in my AEG? Thanks. I get a lot of battery questions, and this one pops up quite often. This one I find myself answering, trying to answer every 3, 6, 8 months, because I know I get a lot of new viewers, and viewers kind of graduate past Airsoftology and move on to the advanced ranks. It is fine in most cases, okay? So typically from a safety standpoint, I don't like leaving the battery in there just because I'll forget, and I'm looking for that battery. That's not really the safety part, it's just me being forgetful. I'm like, where did I put that battery? I'm looking all over, it's actually in a gun, so I try not to do that. Or I'll forget to charge them. Like, I'll leave it in there and forget to charge it up. If you're going to be using it again, I'll actually charge it, put it back in the gun if that's your only gun, and leave it in there, and that way it's ready to go, just unplugged. For me, the safety is the plug and unplug, because I'll forget, pick up a gun. Let's say it got bumped in from semi to, or safe to semi, and then I'll pull the trigger on accident or something like that. It gets bumped or something like that. It's really rare, but it's not a big deal. When it comes down to actual mechanical or any kind of problems like that, like just outside of the small concerns, like somebody, like you have a brother or sister picking it up and just pew-pewing, or a friend on accident, not knowing, where you're mature and responsible, but they may not know any better. I would say as long as you don't have a MOSFET in the gun, you're totally fine leaving it plugged in. If you have an active braking MOSFET, and you're going to know what that is if you have a gun that has that, because the active braking MOSFET is, there's not many or any companies until you get to the really high-end guns, they're going to include something with active braking. Like even like Crytek, VFC, those brands like that, G&G, none of those have active braking MOSFETs. Meaning that active braking, what it does is there's actually using battery power to cause that motor to stop. It's actually putting the brakes on. So usually when you pull the trigger on a gun, it goes and does a cycle. There's a cutoff lever in there, and then it just kind of rotates and slows down naturally. So it'll actually just naturally cycle as the electricity, as the current is broken. So it actually pulls a little bar apart or whatever. Well, when you're looking at active braking, the little sensors in there say, okay, I've got to a certain point, so it's giving you juice to get the motor started, and then it gives like a reverse amount of juice to put the brakes on that motor to actually stop it. And that way you get that little crisp, perfect rotation every time. It's a really neat feature. It's kind of like a system of PTW. Some of the much higher end trigger replacement MOSFETs have that feature in them. But because of that, it constantly has a little bit of battery juice usage. For example, the ASG Evo. The ASG Evo, the Scorpion Evo itself, has active braking as part of it. It's one of the off-the-shelf guns. It's a $400 gun, but that, if you left your battery plugged in, you could come back to a totally dead battery. And on LiPo, it's not something that's good, because you drain your LiPo all the way, it will kill it. I mean, it's pretty much toast at that point, and it's unrecoverable. So as long as you don't have something like that, like I said, it's a very rare occasion. I think the most affordable one is gonna be that ASG Evo Scorpion, which I have one, love the gun, by the way. We'll have that active braking. You wanna make sure that battery stays unplugged. You should be fine to leave it plugged in, just aside from that safety concern. All right, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red Headsets video recommendation of the week. And this one came from you, a bunch of you guys. This is one that I get recommended. In fact, I'm already subscribed, but it's one of those channels I subscribe to, and I've told you before, sometimes I don't have the time to watch YouTube videos enough. That's why I love that you're giving me recommendations. By the way, put your favorite channels down in the comment section below, because I want to see those. I love hearing about them. I'm discovering so many new ones. I'm already building a big list for like the next weeks of the video recommendation of the week here. But this one is RandomTrashy. It's actually, he's a UK YouTuber, and his channel very much is, if you guys watch my channel, you're gonna love his. He does Q&A, he does a lot of help videos, and he also has a lot of reviews. That's really the core to his channel. Very similar to what we do in Airsoftology. So I have a feeling if you are watching this video and you've already mashed my sub button, you're gonna go over there, click his, and probably end up hitting that sub button as well. I just have a really strong feeling. If you do, of course, definitely go do it, and leave him a comment, let him know I sent you guys over there if you like what you saw. But what he does, like I said, I've been really enjoying his product reviews, things like that, really UK focused, but his new series on how to Milsim, right? So this is his walking you through experiences in Milsim. He gives his feedback on his experience out there and things you need to do. It's an ongoing series. In fact, the most recent one here was only just a few days ago. definitely want to watch this playlist. Usually I'm recommending a video, and of course I do have a video here on my shoulder, but this is more about the playlist and of course the channel itself all in all. So if you guys have ever wanted to know about a Milsim, you want to see it from more of a UK perspective, because I mean, you've seen plenty of US Milsims, but you guys are over in Europe, or just get a different perspective, because most, or pretty much all of his advice in the Milsim thing applies to any Milsim event you're ever going to go to. Definitely go check out RandomTrashy's channel. Hit that sub button if you like what you see there, and watch that Milsim event series. It's really good, and like I said, it's ongoing, so he's going to be adding more and more to those every single week, or every few weeks it looks like he's going to be putting it on there. Of course, like I said before, don't forget, if you guys do have a favorite channel, put it in the comment section below and vote those up. Make sure to give them thumbs up if you like certain channels. I want to try to get those highlighted. I'm looking for any YouTubers out there that are doing airsoft related YouTube or anything peripheral to airsoft. I love to find and discover new channels. Also, don't forget, this show is about you. So your comments are what fuel this whole thing. So put those down below as well. Vote up your favorite comments. I do read every single comment every week before the next show. So if you long you give them that first week, I'm reading every single one. I do come back to old videos and try to pick up some other ones too. So I like to pull some great nuggets from the past. So, and also be consistent. If I can't answer your question, I get a lot of great ones down there, and you guys are fantastic at helping each other out. I will definitely pay attention to seeing that week after week and get them on the show eventually. I always try. I try to do my best for that. But guys, until next week, go out, have some fun, play some airsoft, learn about Milsim on RandomTrashy's channel. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.